Hi, I'm Laura Coyle, and in this video, I'm going to show you a technique for adding shading to your artwork in Adobe Illustrator. And this is an exercise from my Heart of Illustrator beginning course. You can find out more about it on my website at lauracoylecreative.com. We'll be starting from this pencil sketch, which you can get below the video. So let's get started. And your next step would be to draw these individual shapes. And this is something that we do in the Heart of Illustrator, Chapter 5. Let's just go down to the Layers panel and turn everything else off. So in that chapter, I show you how to use the drawing tools in Illustrator like the pencil tool, the Blob Brush, and the Curvature tool to draw these shapes. I'll turn everything back on in the Layers panel. And once you have those, we're ready for the next step, which is adding this shading here. So I'll zoom into that area, and what we'll be doing is creating the shading shapes that go on top of these petals. So let me nudge this to the side, and you can see this shape is separate. It's sitting on top of the petal. It has an opacity setting and a blending mode, and if I undo to put it back in place, it has a perfect contour that matches the petal, and we don't have to use clipping masks or anything like that. So we'll be using the drawing tools and the shape builder tool to do this. But before we do that, let me nudge this back in. We're going to look at the shading colors here because I think it's helpful to have these set up so that you can just eyedropper them when you need them. So here in the background, I have 3 solid colors, and you can see these are also global colors that I have in my swatches panel. If you want to learn about how to set those up, you can look at Chapter 4 in the Heart of Illustrator, which talks all about color. But once you have some solid color here, I like to just put them out on the artboard. And what we have here is an orange that's in these petals and in the center of the flower here. And then we have a solid yellow color that's in the petals. And then we have this solid blue color that's in the leaves. And on top of these, we have 3 transparent colors. And I'm just going to nudge these down so that we can see them separately. So these all have a transparency setting, and you can do this in the transparency panel. I'm going to use this one here on the top control bar just by clicking on this opacity link. And if you don't have your top control bar out, just go to the window menu and make sure control is turned on. So back to the transparency panel, let's go ahead and undo this. I'm just going to take it back to the default setting in Illustrator, which is normal and 100%. So now we can see down here, these are all really, bright, solid colors. But I like to think of this, as if you were working with watercolor. You don't want to do shading by just choosing black or gray and then painting over this. You really want to choose a color that's going to mix with the color behind it, so it can be a lot more interesting in terms of the color. And here we have this kind of yellowish green shading here. So the blending mode that you want to use for your shading colors is multiply. I'm selecting all of them, going back up to the transparency panel and changing this to multiply. And what multiply does is it darkens and it also mixes. So kind of like when you're using watercolor, we're putting a color over the top of these solid colors that's going to mix with the color in the background. And it's also going to get darker. So, at this level of opacity, it's a little harder to see, but let me go ahead and change this here to something more subtle, like 25%. And then let's click away. And you can see we're getting some nice color shifts here, but it's not too dramatic. I'm going to make this color here, right here, a little darker. So instead of 25, let me turn this up to 37%. And then I think this red here needs to be a little bit lighter. Let me turn that down to 15%. Of course, because it's Illustrator, it's really easy to go in and change things if you change your mind. But for now, this is set up and we can get started working on the shading. So first, I'm going to grab this petal here and just nudge it to the side. And I do like to use the keyboard arrow keys for nudging. And I'll show you if you go into Preferences, and that shortcut is Command or Control K. You can see right at the very top here we have the keyboard increment. So you can change this from an inch to a pixel, whatever you like. Hit the Enter key. Mine is set to 1 inch. And that means that I can just nudge shapes around using the up, down, left, right keys. and right back into place and re-register them and then put them right back with the whole flower. So this is a really helpful way to work. And so we're going to go ahead and start with this shape here. Let me get rid of the original and we'll draw this one with the pencil tool. So I'll go get the pencil tool and then I'm just going to draw a contour here and come around this side and close it. I don't have to be too particular about this other area here. And it looks like I came up with none, so that's all right. I can switch to my eyedropper tool. The keyboard shortcut is I, and then sample this color right here. That's why I have the color chips here on the artboard. And then we're going to switch to the shape builder tool. So the shape builder tool is here in the tool panel, but I like to use the keyboard shortcut for this. It's Shift M. And that way I can work a lot faster. So I'll select both of these shapes and then use the keyboard shortcut Shift M. And you can see to begin with, the cursor has a plus sign next to it. And what that means is that we're in merging mode. So if I drag through all of these shapes here, they'll just merge together. Let me undo that. What we want to do is use the Option or Alt key. And now you can see when I'm holding Option or Alt, I've got a minus sign, and then I can just drag into the shape that I want to cut away. And there it is. Cut away this perfect contour here. And those are two separate shapes. So now I'll just nudge them back into place. And let's do another one. This petal right here has this nice little curvy shape on it. Let me get rid of that, move it down here. And for this, instead of nudging, I'm going to do this while we're right in place here using isolation mode. So you can double click on an object or a group, just double click on it like that and go into isolation mode. And as you can see, now only this petal is isolated and I can't select anything else. Next, I'm going to go and get the Blob Brush. And if you paint with the Blob Brush in the same color, it can merge with the shape below it. So instead, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can eyedropper this color right here, because we can still get the color even though it's dimmed back and it's not part of the isolation mode. And then I can get the Blob Brush and come here and draw like this. And then I'm going to loop back around. Again, don't have to be very precise about that edge. And then I could color this whole thing in, but it's shorter to just take your white arrow, which is the shortcut is A, deselect, and then come in here and just select the inner shape. And then we can delete that. So now what we have here is a solid shape. Then I'm going to go ahead and switch back to my black arrow, the selection tool, that's V, and then select both shapes and get the shape builder tool, Shift M. Once again, I need to hold the Option or Alt key to subtract, and then I can just come here and subtract away that shape. And now to exit isolation mode, and I'll just point out, if you go up to the upper left corner, you can see that, here we are on a layer, and this is the object that I have isolated. It's kind of a breadcrumb trail here. You can use this arrow to just click on this and get out of here. You can tap Escape on your keyboard. You can also go to the selection tool and double click again to get out of isolation mode. Now we'll do one last shading shape because I think repetition is good. And for this, we're going to use the curvature tool. So we'll start with this leaf shape over here, and I'm going to nudge it, and let's zoom in. And the reason we're nudging it aside and zooming in is because the curvature tool is also an editing tool. So it not only draws, but it edits. So first thing I want to do is deselect here because I don't want to be editing this shape. And then I can get the curvature tool and come over here and start drawing. The reason that I've zoomed in is because I have to be really precise about where I click because it's easy to wind up affecting the shape below. So I'm going to go ahead and place 1 point, 2 points, 3 points to make this curve here. And I'll go ahead and click on a color just so that I can see the difference. And then when you get to this point right here that you want a corner point on, you can double click on it. And now I can start a new curve. So that's the sort of the beginning, the middle, and the end. If I get too close to the edge here, just watch out. You can wind up editing the other shape. So I'm going to undo. Instead, I'm going to just come inside here, maybe even zoom in a little bit more, and then draw another curve there. And then this one, I'm going to make a double click for, so I can turn it into a corner point. Double clicking like that, then double clicking again to make a corner point and just make a crude shape here. Double click, and double click at the end. All right, now I would like this to be transparent, so I'm going to go ahead and eyedropper this color over here. Now let's use the Shape Builder tool. The keyboard shortcut is Shift M, hold Option or Alt, and cut away like that. Now let's get this one out of the way, and I can just nudge this back into place. All right, so we've used 3 different drawing tools and the Shape Builder tool to add shading shapes to this flower. And what's great about this in Illustrator is that, making adjustments to these colors can be really easy, especially if you have global colors here. So if I come in and say, oh, I want this green here, which is used in the shading throughout the leaves, I can double click on this global color here, and I can shift it to a more blue color, as you can see there, and I can darken it like that. So you're really never limited. You can build your art in any color that you like, just knowing that changing it later is very easy to do. All right, I've got a few more tips for you, but first, if you haven't already, sign up for my email newsletter. I send out Illustrator tips twice a month, and you can get the link below the video. All right, let's keep going. Now for the tip. I want to show you how a plugin can really help you edit when you work like this. So let's come over here to this leaf that I have isolated, and I'm going to show you the difference between using the Direct Selection tool in Illustrator and the PathScribe tool in the Astute Graphics plugin suite, which you can find out more about at the link below the video. So first, let me get the white arrow, the direct selection tool, and let's just say that, we've already created this leaf and this shadow shape that have the exact same, anchor points along the bottom here because of the way I created it. And so now what I want to do is just make some adjustments to this curve. So let's say I select the anchor point and maybe I want to move it in a little bit. You can see what happens. I didn't select the anchor point below it. So let me undo that. All right, so with the white arrow in Illustrator, the direct selection tool, if you want to select the point underneath it as well, you need to do a marquee selection like that. And when I do that, now I know I've got both points, and so I can move this around and work with it like that. So that's pretty good. But one thing that I'm not able to do here is move the handle. So when I move the handle, you can see I'm opening up a gap between these two shapes here. They're no longer perfectly aligned. And that's because, even if I find this handle and I try to marquee select it, there's just no way to use the direct selection tool to move multiple handles simultaneously. So this is where PathScribe comes in. Now this is part of the VectorScribe plugin, and so you need to get the instructions from Astute Graphics on how to download that and everything, but let's just say it's all set up for you. This is a panel and also a tool. This right here is the PathScribe tool. So let's go ahead and click on it. It's kind of like a supercharged direct selection tool. So you can use it to, select anchor points like this, and you see it gives you a little bit of a, extra information and whether something's a smooth point or a corner point. And let's try this one more time. If I click to select this and move that path, it's going to select the point below it as well. And that's because there's a feature here that I also want to show you that's part of the PathScribe panel, and it's called Auto Glue. But before we jump into that, let me just show you a couple more things about what it can do. So let's grab that handle and look at that. It's just moving the curve perfectly with everything selected below it. I really love that. So with this, it doesn't matter whether you select the anchor point just by clicking on it, or you marquee select the anchor point, by dragging like that. You still have full control over that anchor point, the one below it, and all the handles. Okay, so let's look at the thing that's making this magic happen. Over here in the little flyout menu, it's this feature here called Auto Glue. So currently I have it turned on. Now I'm going to turn it off just so you can see, and let's turn it on again. And when you turn it on, you'll see this nice pop-up that gives you a lot of information about it. But this is a pretty powerful feature that's tucked inside the PathScribe tool. So you may want to check out this. But basically, it's illustrating how with Auto Glue, if you move this center point that all of these 4 individual squares share, you're going to be able to, see all of them update at the same time. So that's really cool. All right, so let me go ahead and click OK. And Auto Glue works, whether you're working with a point, or a segment like that. So that's also really cool. Now, if you have artwork like this, where paths are abutting, this is the kind of art you might see if you're using image trace or vectorizing or even AI gen vectors. You're going to see abutting paths like this, and Auto Glue works really well with these. So I can just start to soften this curve here, working with, both the points and the handles on this path here. And, when I'm finished, I can just pull them apart and they're exactly the same. So this is a really helpful feature. And if your anchor points aren't exactly one on top of the other, you can always come in here to the flyout and go down to Preferences. And right here in the PathScribe Preferences is the Auto Glue tolerance setting. And I'm really enjoying this feature. All right, well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If so, give me a like and subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.